PvP in Escape from Tarkov is brutal, but that's why it feels so good when things start to click and you start winning more fights. This is a series where we take a look at clips from my stream where I died and break down what I did wrong and what we can learn from that encounter. For this video, I got to link up with Sheef GG, who is genuinely one of the best Escape from Tarkov players. And get his thoughts on the clips and his perspective on PvP in general in Tarkov. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. Oh, dude. I feel like with these fights, the easy thing, my kind of gut reaction is like, okay, maybe I should have jumped off the balcony or something like that. But I was so low health after the first fight that I was worried I was going to either die or just put myself in a really bad position if he pushes down on me. I kind of put myself at a disadvantage using 9mm. These guys are playing really aggressively. But what were your kind of thoughts on that? You know, I kind of ego swing this guy right here after I know he's pushing me. I get the kill, but maybe that was an unnecessary risk I took. I don't know. When you're in these like super close quarters, aggressive fights and these shoreline fights, like what are you thinking? What could I have done better there?
So the biggest thing there, when you use the perf, you get pop the ETG first. The perf stops the heavy bleeds and light bleeds, but the ETG gets your HP back up to a fighting stance, and you'll always heal. The ETG will overpower any bleeds you have.
Okay.
Like, I think even if you have like 3 heavies, like the ETG still just heavily overpowers it. And then you could pop the perf too if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
The ETG, that would at least get you back up to enough to disengage out on going over the balcony. This right here, a left-hand peek versus his right-hand peek, that's a rough one. And he swung in.
Yeah.
And then you got behind the corner, but on his end, your back end was still showing a little bit because, you know, left versus right-hand mechanics. That is one where a shoulder swap could play into it. The
only thing I was thinking there, and you see, because like when I come out here, I'm taking the right hand right here, and I agree with you, it was the wrong play. The only thing I'm thinking is if he's swinging, I was thinking off angle. I was thinking he's going to be looking at the right hand peak first, and maybe I can catch him. You know what I mean? But to that point, you're like the shoulder swap. Absolutely.
That's where you could play the off angle. The shoulder swap helps with it a little bit. You won't overexpose yourself as much. In the moment, it's a tough one to do. It's like when you went up top, pushed across, you had the right hand angle. Then you made the angle a little tighter. Great. Acted up, waited for the nade. I'm sure you were sound horning for the guys to the left to push. You see the flashlight turn on. So you're immediately ready for that fight. Yeah. You got tagged a little bit. You tagged, you like pushed into the room and then immediately pushed back out. That's perfect. You disengage out and then you push back out the door and you catch them mid swing. Right there, I maybe would have went for a hip fire instead of the aimed on sight. Yeah. But the ergo on the MP5 is phenomenal. And when you aimed on sight coming out of a sprint, it ignores ergo, or a lot of it at least. Yeah. Aimed on sight really fast. For me, when it's that close, I like to hip fire a little more. And if you have a flashlight, that would have been the only thing I could think of. And I think you turn the flashlight on perfect. Yeah. So like that was a perfect play. Okay. Honestly. And you slayed out on that dude. Because
of how hurt I was after, I was like, man, is there a way I could have played that smarter? But, you know, what I'm thinking here is like, okay, well, 3rd floor, right? So I can't play a balcony play, and even this room, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I was thinking too, was like, which is exactly what happened. You want this guy in a sprint. So if I run into cover, I'm assuming he's going to want to keep the pressure up. So if I match the pressure, I might be able to get him here. Kind of flashlight v flashlight here, which is a little brutal. Flop through the hole. The thing is, so, and this room I chose obviously isn't an ideal one because, yeah, I can jump out of the balcony, but that's going to hurt me. My thought was there wasn't a whole lot of other good places to go because I kill this guy, I drop. If I want to go farther down too, I have to jump over the barbed, which is going to hurt me and make a lot of audio. If I turn to my left here, I wasn't sure if that second guy, the Val guy, was going to like chase me down the hole or if he was going to back up and go down the stairs. If I go left here and then try to go down the stairs, I didn't want to accidentally meet him. So I kind of just ran in here. And I feel like this is where I as a player struggle a lot. Is like, you probably agree with this, where especially with these extended fights, like I feel like PvP is more a series of small good decisions as opposed to like one big good decision, right? And there comes a point, and this is the point in this fight, where I'm almost like out. Like I had made so many good decisions, I clutched it up. And because when I'm watching this back, yeah, I'm like, dude, you should have jumped. You should have popped the ETG. You had enough time to, you know, do this or do that. But I just like have the decision fatigue. And I'm like, I'm just going to wait for this guy to push me and try to fight him. You know what I mean?
In the room, on the right room, is there a wall that you could have played off so you didn't have to go on the balcony?
Yeah, actually, there probably is. If I jumped on the bed, I could have played this wall.
Yeah, that's what I personally think would have been better. Because then you have a right hand peek always.
True, I have a right hand peek, and I didn't even think about that.
They were separate rooms. I'm not gonna lie.
I have height. I've been on the receiving end of that on Shoreline, where I push into a room like this and shoot, and because the guy's on the bed, my head height shots are hitting chest, and then that guy wins. You know what I mean? Like just because you put a little bit of elevation there.
I don't know. Maybe going on the bed wouldn't, because you probably would have had to jump to get up there. That's going to give him the audio cue that you're up there. And then, no, the balcony would have been good. I would have just held the right hand peek.
Yeah.
The off angle's not bad, actually. I thought it was two separate rooms. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was two separate rooms. It being the same room, I would have just held the right hand peek.
Yeah. I also feel like I probably could have pre-fired here. I don't start shooting until he's in the room. I have the flashlight as the signal, like this guy's pushing me. I could have started my fire a little bit early there and then maybe just picked a clean heady.
Yep, that would have been the two biggest things. You played the balcony well, like getting to the balcony. I think that was the right decision. And then you should have used the ETG instead of the perf.
Let's say I hit the ETG and jump off the balcony here. Like where would you have gone from there? Like, do you like to keep the pressure up when you're in a fight? What's your general thought on at what threshold do you back off and kind of reset a fight and heal up? Or are you just like trying to maintain pressure and flow? Because there's a balance there where I want to make sure I've got decent mags, I'm healed up, and check and see if my armor's toast. But at the same time, I feel like when you lose audio, that's such a hard game. You know what I mean? Because then they could be anywhere. They could be crabbing anywhere. So a lot of times I lean on the other side where it's like, I'm just going to keep the pressure and the momentum up. I feel like that's where I end up making a lot of bad decisions, but I don't know. What do you think?
Depends on your HP whenever you vault over. You're pretty damaged, but that ETG would get you back up. You're only missing your arms, and that could make for sloppy shots or slowing down sight. The MP5 does have really good ergo, and you'd be doing CQB, so I'd probably keep the pressure with the ETG going. If you're pain killed, I would probably push. I'd vault over, and then if he's like really close to my tail, I'm gonna vault over and turn around and just wait for him to vault over after me.
See if he chases.
Yeah, but they don't do that too often.
Yeah.
And so that person would likely see you vault over and then do one of two things: either go up to the balcony and try to look over, or disengage towards the stairs. And so you vault over, immediately push inside, and then hold a left-hand peek. But you don't be peeking. You just hold up against the wall and you wait till you hear the stairs, and then you sidestep out with a pre-fire hip fire. Don't even on sight because it'll slow you down, but just keep strafing left. And pre-fire, because you'll likely catch him in a sprint, because the guy's like, oh, he's damaged heavy. He just vaulted over. He's gonna be injured even more. I have him on the run. I don't want him to get away. So he's going to be coming full sprint down that stairs.
That's a good point. You and me were talking earlier when we were going over these, when we were doing the Shoreline raids, about like kind of like getting your enemy to do what you want them to do. And that's an interesting perspective, almost like using the fact that I'm hurt and he knows I'm hurt to kind of like, okay, well, how is he going to play in response to that? These guys are obviously high level players the way they're playing, and they're really good. So he's going to be pushing aggressively. So stuff like that, little stuff like that, making sure you're in a pre-fire, trying to catch him in a sprint, basically trying to play to his aggression, because he's peppered me up. And at that point, he's probably saying like, yo, he's lit, he's lit. I have another one to show you.
Connor, I'm done.
Ow. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show that first part is to kind of like show this was the type of fight I was in with this 2-man the whole time. Like the clip didn't get all that came before this. It becomes this just like super tight angle game. Like these guys were not peeking wide angles. They weren't being very like overly aggressive. So I kind of call this like playing in like the pocket. It's almost like you're playing within what could be considered desync. So then I'm trying to take these tight angles again. And I feel like the big mistake I made here was I took the original thing tight, the original angle, and then I kind of wide stepped the second one because I thought I killed him. Maybe I saw that blood splatter. I thought maybe I killed him, but then I felt like I was way overexposed and I didn't have enough time to get back to the wall.
Shoulder swap again. That'd be a good, like if you're going to hold any left-hand angle. So the general rule of thumb I do with whether or not I'm willing to hold an angle is 1, does your opponent know where you're at? 2, do you have a right-hand peek versus left-hand peek? And 3, how long of a barrel gun you have. Like what's your opponent's peek?
Yeah.
Is your opponent coming in out of a doorway, or is he basically gonna be able to like full peek and have his gun ready on a peek? Right versus left hand peek. You're a left hand peek, he's a right hand peek. So you absolutely, if you're gonna do it, you need a shoulder swap. 2, flashlight on, because the flashlight makes it so much harder to hit that heady. And because like he came up the stairs, I think he had his flashlight on too.
He did,
They just honestly, they're so strong.
They're so strong. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, why don't I have my flashlight here on this clip? Yeah, pretty easy. I should have, taken the shoulder swap. But how do you play against people like this generally that play in this kind of like super, super tight pocket of like almost all within, I don't know, just like the super tight angles. This is where when I get uncomfortable when people play like this, not because I'm like, they shouldn't play like this, but because I don't have my, my leans bound to my mouse. I feel like I'm not good with the super quick leans. And I feel like I end up just pushing to try to make something happen. When you're in a fight with somebody like that, where it's all angles, all super tight stuff, are you basically just playing to them, or are you trying to push them off it? I don't know.
Nades can be your friend, because like he didn't have a close enough angle or close enough gap to push you when you pull the nade out.
Yeah,
so
I guess that's true.
When you're back on the other door, you could have put a nade out and bounced it off the wall, and it's going to put it around the staircase. It's not a kill nade, but it's just to fuck up with his audio.
Yeah.
And then you push down your stairs and you go and push him from underneath. It's not the best thing to go off of, but knowing that the audio is not that good, right? That he's not going to immediately know that you're on the lower floor. That helps. And a lot of times whenever you put the nade out, like on the previous clip, the nade came and you backed it up and you didn't move and you sat there and sound work. That's the right way. But a lot of times people hear that nade be pulled out and then thrown. All of their attention is put on the nade, and they will miss the simple audio cues of you disengaging, wrapping down the stairs, and just the shift of you going from left to right, back to left, which would indicate you going down the spiral staircase. They're gonna miss, and so that would allow you the flank. But or this right here, you see your jiggle peak, like that right there is how you end up beating them, because peeker's advantage, you have to be the second one that peaks. You can't hold the angle, otherwise you get got behind doorways too much, or you're gonna have to have a pre-fire, because you will not possibly have a quick enough reaction to get the kill, just because of what the server's gonna do to you.
I think it boils down to impatience a lot. Just now when I'm watching it back, this initial fight, I'm on second floor here, and because of that, I'm backed up a little bit. I have the right side. The way Shoreline is like laid out, where this is the right side, but then if I want to push up, I'm on the left side because of this like zigzag hallway. So maybe if I either use nade as the bait, or even just after that first initial, shot where I didn't kill him, moved down to second floor and taken the right hand instead, or even just backed up a little bit and taken the right hand. I just feel like in situations like this, it's impatience that gets me, because I had been fighting these guys for like 5 minutes already before I killed the first one. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need to make something happen. But I feel like playing my life either, disengaging from a fight that I don't need to take, or using utility items like nades or something to kind of push people around. I feel like I want the fight, I want the PvP, and I try to like force it and make something happen by pushing or being aggressive. And then that gets me killed. When people ask how to get better, it's like, well, you got a double W key, there's Peeker's advantage, Tarkov favors the aggressor, but learning how to do that smart, I think, is the key to PvP. And sometimes I do it dumb, where I'm just like, I just want to make something happen. So I push and get aggressive, and then I put myself in a bad position.
Another potential play, which I like to do a lot, in a lot of people's minds, it's like, oh, the person that can sprint around the most is the skilled player, but like playing the cards you're dealt is what makes a true skill player in my mind, right?
Yeah.
And crab walking is a part of the cards you're dealt. So you can disengage out, like you're running back, and then so you can push up to that wall right there and peek pre-fire, then run away, make it nice and loud, and then crouch, control all the way down to slow, and creep back to that original wall. And you can creep forward, and basically you get within a sprint distance of him, got just a few steps, and you sprint at him and kill him. In Shoreline, it's a little more difficult because whenever you have to do a left-hand peek to see him, and if he's sitting there holding the angle, it's a little tough. But if he hears you run away, like, he's not going to be as focused on that front angle.
That's true.
So you'd sprint up to here, tag him right here, sprint away, and then creep back to that original location.
This is similar in that last clip, where I did the thing where I shot the guy, and then I ran away, and I ran into the room, and then I just turned right around and peeked out. Sometimes I make a bunch of decisions in quick succession, and that was kind of what happened here. Like, I shot at the guy, and I was like, ooh, I might have hit him. I should immediately re-peek. But what you're saying is, almost use that opportunity to back off, bait him into thinking that I'm backing off of that, and then creep back up.
Also, don't be shy with your ammo. You have a long-barreled weapon here, and high damage ammo. So like on that second, the first shot, not bad, and you unpeaked, and then the second one, whenever you go to peek there, dude, just fucking let her sing. Because he would have walked right up into your shot.
Interesting.
But you started to disengage, and your gun hits the wall, and you end up getting caught.
There's a lot of quote unquote right things to do that happen a lot, and sometimes that right thing to do is the wrong thing to do. And so one of the things I've been working on is firing, but then getting back into cover really quickly, because sometimes just straight up challenging someone just kind of leaves you exposed. But this is one of those times where I've got the angle, I see his flashlight, I see he's pushing. I could have, just held that mouse one, maybe corrected the aim a little bit to the right, so it's a little bit of a tighter angle, and he might have just walked right into it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love what you said, though, where it's like, it's not just about W keying, it's about executing on the cards you're dealt. Because that's so much better of a way to look at it, because it's less about, well, I saw in a video to do this. You're supposed to take right hands only. You're supposed to do this only. There are good rules of thumb, but at the end of the day, every fight is different. What gun do you have? How much ammo do you have left? Like you even said, how long is the barrel of your gun? That stuff is going to do it. So kind of breaking through the always take right hands, always do this, and more of getting good at PvP is learning how to assess a fight and what hand you're dealt, and then figure out how to make it work within those parameters. Yeah.
I think the best players are going to be the ones that implement a aggressive playstyle, but can easily swap to a patient playstyle.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, you'll have people will be like, oh, this player's the best player, this player's the best player, this player, but who'd kill him 10 out of 10 times? It's Stink Rat.
Yeah.
Who's patient like a motherfucker, and it's a stealth game a lot of times, and so that comes down to those general rule of thumbs, do you know where the person's at, and can you play the situation aggressive? And a lot of times it's just the answer's no to that. And that's okay,
dude. And I think that's it, because me as someone who is, especially when I'm playing solo, I am trying to get better at PvP. I'm trying to take fights that I'm uncomfortable taking. I'm trying to fight teams that frustrate me, because I want to be a better, more well-rounded player. And I think a lot of times my brain goes to that, where it's like, when I don't know what to do, I default to like, well, I need to be aggressive, like I see this person do, or like I see that person do. And those are normally when I make the mistakes, because in a lot of these fights, a lot of the fights that we win, we're trying to bait our opponent into being over aggressive. We're trying to bait him into a push. We're trying to bait, you know what I mean? And so I feel that happening a lot, where like, if I don't know what to do, I err on the side of being too quick or too aggressive. And so, yeah, there's a lot to be said for knowing when to turn that on and when to turn it off, when to be patient and when to be super aggressive with it. So you immediately came to mind when I was thinking about this stuff, because I do this all the time. I have clawed my way from like being literal butt cheeks at this game to being like, okay, primarily through doing this, like watching clips back. And I love hearing other people's perspective, and you are like literally one of the goats at this game. So I appreciate you kind of hitting me with some of the wisdom.
Shit, my pleasure, man. I love breaking down these plays. So if you ever want to do it again, let me know.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. I will have all of Sheef's links down below. Definitely go check out his Twitch content and his YouTube content. He really is one of the greats. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I stream Escape from Tarkov 6 days a week. All my links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord's an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.